What is up, people? Van from the VaniverseGaming channel here, bringing you another video on Solasta CoTM Magister. Today's video, we are going to cover all the level 6 spells available in Solasta CoTM Magister. Similar to the level 5 spells, there is very few options to choose from, but we're level 11 at this point. You can only go to level 12 in Solasta. I mean, we're at the end game, so these are spells you're probably going to get to use once, maybe twice in a fight. So they are game-breakingly painful, though, so depending on which ones you pick, you're going to do some significant damage, but let's help you figure out which one is the best ones to choose. So similar to my other videos, we're going to give you a little description about the spell. I'm going to give you my opinion if I think it's a good spell, great, terrible, situational, don't use it, that kind of thing. And then we're going to start with the wizard arcane spells, and then we'll move over to the cleric and druid only spells. So let's get started. All right, number 1 on the list is Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning targets a creature within lightning, which can be arced up to 3 other creatures, so 4 total, in a range of 150 feet. So they have to be within 30 feet of each other. But it does 10d8 lightning damage. They save for half. So if you have 4 creatures that are all within 30 feet of you, to be able to do 10d8 lightning damage, and they have a dexterity saving throw to cut half, I mean, it's pretty nice. And the range on it's really far. I mean, it's 150 feet or whatever. So this is just 120 feet. I don't know how to do math. So this is a really good spell to do some significant amounts of damage. All right, moving on to the Circle of Death. So this one costs you a pearl that's worth 500 gold, but it's not consumed. So you just have to have a pearl worth 500 gold on your character in order to cast this. And what this does is it puts a sphere, which is really big. I mean, we're talking 40 foot, a 40-foot sphere, 8d6 necrotic damage, and then if they save, they take half damage. So the damage is not super great, but it's a very, very big range, so you can hit a lot of targets with this spell. To me, I don't use Circle of Death. It's not one of the spells I usually like to slot, but it could be situational because of how big the AoE is. And same with Chain Lightning. I think it has its purpose. It's not a must-have, but it can do some significant damage depending on how creatures are spaced out. All right, Disintegrate. I love this spell. It does 10d6 plus 40 damage, and if you save to negate it. So here's the issue. It's either going to destroy something, wreck their day, or do 0. And so it is a dex saving throw, which means there's a good chance, depending on what you cast it on, they have a decent dexterity, and you're going to blow your level 6 spell and it do nothing. So this is a very high risk, high reward. So unless you have certain things to lower saving throws or certain spells that prevent them from even saving against a dexterity saving throw that prevents them from moving, you're going to be disappointed by this spell because it's such an expensive spell to cast and it not do anything. So I think this is very situational. Depending on how you set up the fight and what other spells you cast, this thing is going to wreck somebody. But if you don't do it a certain way, it's going to let you down. All right, let's go to Eye Bite. So Eye Bite, your eyes gain a specific property which can target a creature each turn. So for 1 minute, you can target one creature within 60 feet, and they have to save on a wisdom saving throw, or the creature falls asleep. The creature is panicked and becomes frightened and must run away, or the creature is sickened and has disadvantage on attacks until a wisdom saving throw is successful. Okay, the creature falls asleep. So if you know that sleep is considered incapacitated and unconscious, any melee attack against something that is asleep gets a guaranteed crit. So with the sleep spell, you got 1 chance to do it. With this, you can do it over and over and over and over again as long as you keep concentration for 1 minute. So imagine being able to look at all the different creatures, and if they fail, they fall asleep, and then all your melees get free crits on that creature. This is a great spell. I love this spell. I would highly recommend keeping this as one of your spells. Okay, Freezing Sphere. Freezing Sphere is a lot like Circle of Death. It just does more damage, and the AoE is even bigger. No, it's the same AoE. Is it 40? Yeah. So it's very much so like Circle of Death. You have 150 feet away. You hit this very huge AoE of frost damage, 10d6. If they save a con save, they take half damage. This is one of those situational things. It does a ton. It has such a big range. It's going to hit everything. But the damage isn't that great. I mean, it's good, but I just you get to use it once. There's some other spells in this list, like Eye Bite, that you can use over and over again, that I think give you a little bit more bang for your buck. So this is a situational spell. I'm not saying it's terrible, but it also isn't as great as some of the other spells. Globe of Invulnerability. So a sphere surrounding you prevents any spells up to 5th level affect anyone inside of it. So fighting that big level caster guy who's about to hit your face with a freezing sphere or a chain lightning, it does nothing if you have this sphere on. So it's a very small sphere. It's only 10 feet. So it can get your entire party, but it's only for spells that are up to 5th level. So even if they cast a 6th level spell on you, it's not going to prevent it. To me, I would rather be more offensive. If you want to be defensive and kind of put this around you and then let all the melees come in and fight them and all the casters are just screwed, they can't hit you with anything, go for it. I don't use it. I think it's a terrible spell compared to some of the other spells because I'm not a defensive kind of guy. True Scene. Oh, I'm sorry. Sunbeam. So this one is another fantastic spell. You conjure a line of radiance which can burn and blind creatures in the line of effect. Undeads and oozes save with disadvantage. The beam can be retargeted each turn. So you fire a beam in front of you 60 feet. For 1 minute, you concentrate. They have to pass a Constitution saving throw. If they fail their con save, they take 68 radiant damage, and they are blinded. This is the greatest thing about this, is you can keep casting it. So you just basically are shooting beams of light at every creature. Oh, beam of light. Okay, my turn again. Beam of light. My turn again. Beam of light. It's a super powerful spell that you can keep on using over and over again, similar to Eye Bite, which is why I think this is a must-have spell. Just saying. All right. True Scene. We got a creature you touch gains True Sight for 1 hour. That creature can see in normal and magical darkness and can see through invisibility and illusions. Honestly, this is a waste of a 6th level spell. I think in certain games and in tabletop, there's going to be a time where True Seeing is amazing, especially if you're fighting creatures that can disappear. If you have the ability to put darkness out and you want to do like, hey, I'm going to do a darkness True Seeing combo, cool. Solasta, it's not worth it at this level since you can only go to level 12. I would not pick this spell up. It is terrible in my mind for Solasta Crown of the Magister. All right, so that covers all the arcane spells. Let's go check out the divine cleric spells that are available. All right, let's look at the cleric level 6 spells. So first up, we have Blade Barrier. Blade Barrier is a fantastic spell. It puts a 40-foot sphere around that you conjure a wall of razor-sharp blades, which do 68 slashing damage to anyone who cross it. You can do it in a wall or a ring. So this functions very much so like your Rings of Fire, your Ring of Thorns, which we'll cover here in a minute. And so it's just an AoE that people, if they walk through it, they take 60-10 damage. Keep in mind that you can combine this with other spells like Fear, and if they're frightened, they have to run back through it. So yeah, it's a great spell. I think it's a must-have for a cleric. Harm, another fantastic spell for a cleric. It inflicts a devastating necrotic damage and reduces the max hit points accordingly, cannot drop the target below 1 hit point. So that is very key to understand. You cannot outright kill something, but if they take a con save, if they fail their con save, they take 14d6 necrotic damage. It's halved if they save, and then you inflict harmed, which means their maximum hit points is reduced for an hour until an effect which cures the disease affects the target. So you're basically just messing up their day so somebody else can just kill them. Really, really strong spell. I think this is a really great spell for the cleric. Heal. So this is the complete opposite. You heal just straight up 70 hit points and you remove all occurrences of these conditions, which are blighting and disease. So you just cast heal. It does 70 hit points and you remove all of these conditions. It's a strong spell. Very, very strong spell. Hero's Feast. This is a fantastic spell. The only downside is you need a gem that's at least 1,000 gold. But for 1 hour, your party gets to eat this delicious feast. They gain 10 temporary hit points. They gain immunity to poison and frighten, and advantage to wisdom saving throws at the same time. So for 1,000 gold, you get to give your party 10 max hit points, immunity to poison and feared, advantage on wisdom saving throws for 1 hour. There are certain fights that this is going to be great. It's a pretty big investment, so this is very situational. I think it's a great spell, but the cost is very significant. So I don't know if I would always pick this up, but if you want to try it out, give it a try. It's just situational. I think on here, Bladeberry is a must-have. Harm and Heal are must-haves. And then you just have to figure out if you want to be the healer of the party, do damage, or kind of put up a wall and have everything run through it. Okay, so that is all the Cleric spells. So there is only one spell left, and that falls in the Druid spell list. So let's go check that out. All right, so for the final 6th level spell available on Solasta Crown of the Magister, we actually have two. We have Conjure Fey. This conjures a Fey creature, challenge rating of 1 to 6. And this Fey creature fights alongside you. If you lose concentration, the creature stays but becomes hostile. So this functions very similar to the Conjure Elemental, but instead of conjuring an elemental, you're conjuring a Fey creature. So you can conjure an ape, an eagle, a bear, a green hag, a wolf, or a dryad. The thing is, it says the conjured Fey creature can have a challenge rating of 1 to 6 to fight alongside you. So it's kind of random on the different challenge rating. I think it's a fun spell. It can definitely depend on what you conjure. It can really benefit you and your party, and it's a lot of fun. As a druid, I think it just fits the theme. This is situational, in my opinion. I think the fire elemental does just fine, but if you want to have this on your roster, give it a shot. And then the other one is Wall of Thorns. I think this is a must-have. You create a Wall of Thorns very similar to Blade Barrier, very similar to Wall of Fire. And if they were to walk through it, they take damage from piercing from walking through the Wall of Thorns. You can put it in a wall. You can put it in a circle around your party. It functions just like Blade Barrier, and it functions just like the Wall of Fire. But it does more damage, and you can just stack them on top of each other, right? So if you have a druid and you have a cleric and you have a wizard, you could have yourself a Blade Barrier and a Wall of Thorns and a Wall of Fire, and just literally if something tries to walk through any of them, it's going to insta-die before it even gets to your party. So that is going to be all she wrote for every 6th level spell available in Solasta Crown of the Magister. Hope you guys enjoyed this video series of all the different spells you can choose from. If there's any questions or if you have any comments on what I said about any of the spells, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you want to see more videos on Solasta Crown of the Magister, go ahead and give us a subscribe right there, and then click on the little bell, and that way you'll know when I post more videos. And yeah, thank you for watching. This is Van from the VaniverseGaming channel. Cheers and peace out.